Welcome to the Grappling Grappling Rewind Podcast.
Welcome to this week on the Grappling Rewind Podcast. On this week's show, we are going to preview Who's Number 123, headlined by Nicholas Meregali and Vagner Rocha. We are also going to talk a little about all the ADCC announcements and talk a little about the new Fight Pass 7 invitational card that got announced. As always in the show, I'm host Maine, joint co-host
Miranda.
How you doing?
Pretty good. How are you?
Doing pretty good. And then bobble that intro super hard.
You are out of breath trying to do that shit.
I know. I just only 300 plus shows and still occasionally bobble an intro there. So yeah, it's phenomenal. We have a bunch of news this week. We have really no matches to break down. We have a couple of things to kind of recap that happened, but they're pretty quick. Most of it is just talking about the upcoming Who's Number 123 card, which looks really exciting. Honestly, there's some really well matched matches there, and I think a lot to digest, but we also have just an absolute stacked amount of ADCC news and a bunch of invites, new weight class stuff, new women's absolute absolute to talk about. And
it is a GP when you think about it.
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah.
And we also got this week during UFC 301, we got the full lineup for the Fight Pass 7 Invitational, which is stacked. So that happens in 2 weeks. And as always, Who's Number 1 in Fight Pass have a bunch of the same people and run a week next to each other.
Yeah, and all their advertisements look exactly the same.
The fonts are kind of similar, and
the
branding is very
similar.
Yeah,
so it always messes with your head a little bit.
Also, they're usually very close in date too.
Yeah.
Fight Pass Invitational runs during the week sometimes, and so you have a Saturday Who's Number 1,
yeah,
a Thursday Who's Number 1, and a Wednesday or Thursday Fight Pass Invitational. So it throws us off internally. So we will preview that next week, but we have the card, and I want to talk about the card because it's a pretty awesome card that I'm excited about. So 2 fun cards back-to-back weeks. We're going to preview that and break the other one down next week.
Yep.
So let's get into news. We have a bunch, not only biggest news, we have a bunch of big news. Gabby Garcia got announced for ADCC. I think we talked about this last week, but I bring that up to go, there is now also has been announced a women's 8-woman absolute GP at ADCC World Championships. So previously, this is something people have talked about for years of there's a men's absolute. Why isn't there a women's absolute? Because previously, if you don't know some of the history, ADCC only had 2 weight classes for women. They have had more before, or different weight classes before, but in the last few years, they have had under 60 kilograms and over 60 kilograms for the women. And with 8 women apiece, there was only 16 women there. Making an absolute with only 2 weight classes is kind of you'll probably put most of the heavier women in the heavier weight class in that. It doesn't make a lot of sense. Now with 3 women's weight classes of 8 women apiece, we have 24 women.
Yeah.
It makes much more sense to have an 8-woman absolute because you can have some women from under 55 kilograms like Fionn, returning champion, who's shown that she can do it in absolute, and a woman like Gabby Garcia, Maisa Bastos can you can get these real, true, absolute matches when there's a larger amount of weight classes, a larger amount of women that can move into the absolute.
Yeah.
So I am absolutely excited for it. We're gonna see every year in ADCC we see a crazy absolute matchup. In 2019, it was Keith Krikorian versus Buchecha.
Yeah.
2 years ago, it was Fabricio Andre versus Victor Hugo. ADCC goes, cool, biggest and smallest, first round, baby.
Yeah.
So I'm happy that we're now going to see the women get the same opportunity to show off their skills. And every year, there are massive upsets in the absolute. Look at Lachlan's run. That was a smaller guy, 77 kilograms, going in versus 3 of the biggest dudes in that event and making a giant name for himself in that absolute. I'm very happy that the women will get the same stage to do that. So
sounds great.
It'll be. I'm amped. I'm so excited for the women's absolute. I can't wait for us to be sitting there at ADCC and the rumors who's in the bracket, who's in the women's bracket. We're doing men's bracket and women's bracket at the same time now. I am amped to see this. And again, it's 8, so it's a small absolute.
Yeah. So
all those matchups are going to be absolute bangers. So very, very excited for that. Any other kind of comments for the women's absolute?
No, it sounds exciting. I hope that the smaller women will actually do it. Because a lot of the smaller women, you mentioned Bastos. Bastos, I don't think does absolute.
No, because she's...
At IBJJF,
I think she won't have to cut to make 55 kilograms. She might have to cut a little bit, but not much. Fionn will have to cut a little bit.
No, but do you see her doing absolute?
In IBJJF? No.
No, in ADCC.
I don't see it. But
Yeah,
we've seen Mikey jump into absolute before.
I don't know if some of the smaller, the
usually not.
Tiniest weight class women are going to do it, and that then creates the problem that all we have is the under 55s and over.
Over 65.
Yeah.
And over 65.
Yeah, and that we don't get any
but still,
little.
I like that there's still an opportunity. Yeah. Every year we see one person from 66 kilograms going to the men's one.
Yeah.
There's an opportunity at least now. Even if another woman elects to do it, there's still the opportunity if they get selected. So I like that it's there.
I mean, I would be like, fuck it, you're there. What's the worst thing that's going to happen? Gabby Garcia falls on top of you.
You get Gabby Garcia first. That's the worst thing that will happen. Or you get Amy Campo. So
yeah.
Let's talk about names that are announced. We now know that Fionn has been announced. Fionn Davies, former under 60 kilogram champion. She's going to under 55 kilograms.
Which makes sense.
So next couple of weeks, as we kind of get the remainder of the invites out, I apologize. We may go over invites again. There's essentially 106 names and then alternates. So there's really 116 people in the tournament. Sometimes we get a little confused for who we've announced, who we have talked about, who we haven't talked about. If we go through a name again over the next couple of months, apologies, but I don't think we've talked about Fionn yet.
No,
I'm really excited that she's going down to 55 kilogram, under 55, because I think she'll be a powerhouse in that weight class. We've seen her do absolute before and win absolute.
Yeah.
So I'm excited that she'll be enormous for that weight class, and I'm excited to see what she can do. So also announced, we talked about Gabby Garcia. We just found out about 2 hours ago, hour and a half ago, that Josh Cisneros got his invite. We also found out that Ash Williams, I think today or yesterday or something like that, also got his invite letter. J-Rod got announced officially by ADCC, so I think he's returning to under 88 kilograms. Ash Williams is going to under 66 kilograms. Josh Cisneros is going to under 66 kilograms. We talked about PJ Barch a couple of weeks ago, I think. He's going to under 77 kilograms. Gabriel Almeida, two-time South American Trials silver medalist, back-to-back weekends for this last ring of trials, got his invite at under 88.
And local competitor.
Local competitor us. That I have commentated a bunch of his matches for.
He goes into local competitions and just messes.
Because he's comes into Virginia occasionally. He's in Virginia sometimes.
Now, I think he's actually out of North Carolina.
Sorry, he is
somewhere.
But he comes.
But
he does. Up a couple of times.
But he does a bunch of the Virginia tournaments, the regular.
Like the ones that Zach and I and you and Josh and Austin commentate.
Yeah, that us normal people.
Yeah.
Go to.
It was funny. So Gabriel made a story. Zach and I commentated his absolute run at Copa Elite, which is a Virginia tournament that Zach and I do commentary for. It's a lot of fun. It's a great.
And it's a paid bracket.
It's a paid bracket. It's a really fun tournament. And Gabriel Almeida did it. He won it, obviously.
What's it called? Normally does it too. The UFC.
Felipe Costa did it.
The UFC.
No, this is Copa Elite. For Copa Virginia.
Oh, okay.
But Alexander Romanov will do it occasionally.
But he does both, right? Doesn't Almeida do?
Almeida did both of them. So Almeida jumped into the regular tournament, the local tournament, and then won it. And we had a local black belt, went, oh shit, my next match is Gabriel Almeida. And he was staying behind us, and it was such a funny, and Will Moreno, it was Will Moreno. Will Moreno's down in a local competitor forever, but it was really funny, his realization, oh shit, that's Gabriel Almeida. I gotta have my next match. That's cool. And it was just cool to have a guy of that stature locally around, so he's been invited. Again, very well deserved, two-time silver medalist, back-to-back weekends at South American Trials. Gutenberg Pereira is announced at plus 99, and I think we've talked about Victor Hugo also announced for plus 99, but both those gentlemen are there. That's super exciting.
Nicky Rod.
Oh yeah, Nicky Rod also got announced. Oh, there he is at plus 99. Again, returning medalist. People that are not confirmed yet, which I think is really interesting. Giancarlo Bodoni, not technically confirmed yet. Gordon, your plus 99 and your super fight winner, technically not confirmed yet, and Amy Campo, plus 60 kilogram champion for the women, I would assume would go to above 65 kilograms now. Also not confirmed.
But I also haven't seen her compete lately.
We saw her, I think the last time we covered her matches were at the Crown event for the GP, for the Women's Absolute or Women's Crown, whatever the IBJJF event done. She had a first round match with Gabriela Pisana, which she looked really good in. It was a slower match.
But it's Pisana.
It's Pisana. So it was one of those it's a gi match. I'm not really, it doesn't take her stock away. But that's the last time I remember seeing her compete.
I don't recall seeing her anywhere recently. But I could be wrong. She could just be preparing for this.
Right. But she hasn't been announced yet. So those are all kind of the names that are still huge names that are not announced yet. Also, I'm waiting for Keith's announcement.
Yeah, me too.
Because Keith, like, again, two silvers for trials, or sorry, a silver and
a bronze.
A bronze.
Yeah.
Like,
he has a first, a second, and a fourth. He's never gotten a third. Wasn't that it? Or was it first place third? Or is it 1, 2, 3 and no fours?
I get Keith.
He had one where like he's never won, and it's one of the places that he's never won, and he's like, I wonder if I give 2 silvers if that's worth 1.
Yeah. He's like a 4-time silver medalist and a 1-time gold medalist. So again, very very excited.
But
hope
he
gets
got
announced.
fourth. But he got fourth the last
at the first at the first East Coast trials.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was the only one.
So
he
he's
didn't
gotten
place
first, second, and fourth, but never third. That was what it was. Yeah.
But he has like 4 second place medals, which is like, all right, dude deserves to get invited. I hope he gets invited again. Let's see what else we have. Oh yeah, Levi Jones. So that's all the ADCC news I think we have. Levi Jones Leary signed an exclusive deal with Polaris for their European event. So essentially that means, and Levi kind of clarified it in the comment section, is Levi Jones Leary, if he competes in Europe, he's competing for Polaris. That is all it really means.
So it really just means you're not going to do Grapple Fest.
Or like I think maybe like even like probably Europeans either for IBJJF.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure what exactly it means, but he's exclusive to Polaris for his European events, which I mean, it kind of sucks for athlete exclusivity, but I hope they have paid him well to lock him down. And again, I love athletes getting paid, and I hope that he's being compensated for that. Again, I love seeing him on Polaris. So if we get a chance to see Levi on Polaris more, like I'm down for it. We don't see Levi a ton in Europe, so I hope that brings him onto the Polaris stage more often because that dude has the best berimbolo in the world.
Yeah, his
and it was
berimbolo is wild
to watch him at the GP for Polaris. So hopefully we see him more. What else do we have? Okay, so in my head this week, I'm going to say it right here because it's in our notes. I feel like we are missing something major news-wise. And during our pre-show, we couldn't remember or figure out or find what it was to talk about. So I apologize if we're missing something major. My bad.
Yeah.
It's just in my head and I wanted to say it. We rarely do that.
It could also be in the middle of something. We just start going off on a tangent. So that might happen a little bit later too.
Yeah. It's been a busy week. Also this week, I think we haven't talked about this yet. Cade Bertolo, champion of 1FC at lightweight, which is their 170 division. And Mikey Musumeci, king at featherweight, which is their 55 division, are gonna go against each other coming up in Denver.
That's
and
awesome.
I want to get tickets because we went out to the last
September.
June, I think.
I said September 9th.
Is it after ADCC?
I just looked at it.
Regardless, it looks awesome. Tickets are a little more expensive this time than they were last time when they first came to the U.S. for the Denver show. I went to the Denver show last time for my birthday last year. It was awesome, and I'm really itching to go again, but it's right around ADCC, so it'll be hard to kind of get the finances and budget together to get it all done. The whole card looks amazing, and it's got Stamp on it. It's got like a bunch of really, really fun fighters on it.
September 6th.
Okay, so it's got a bunch of really good and fun fighters on it, and I want to go back out to Denver. I like going to Denver. Speaking of friends we have in Denver, I want to shout him out now. Troy Everett, Night Pigeon from Novamente, put out one of the best gym promos that I have ever seen. Troy, like every 6 months, will put out just a hilarious like gym promo, like almost like the old late night TV infomercials. He'll put out one of those, and he's knocked it out of the park with this one. Go find it. If you find Novamente on Instagram or the Night Pigeon on Instagram.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
You can go find it, and it's like a couple minutes, or it's like a minute, and it's just hilarious of Troy like promoting his gym in the way that he does, and it's awesome. If you're in the Denver area, go find that dude because he's awesome to train with. Whenever I'm out there, try to get a chance to train with him. And it's always a lot of fun. I
never get a chance to go to Denver. Whenever anything happens, it's never in Denver. I've been trying to get to Denver for years.
It's fun. I like Denver. We have family out there, too, so it gives us an excuse to go out a little more frequently. But, yeah, he put out a great promo, and if you want some jiu-jitsu comedy, it's great. Yeah. Other news, we have not Mikey Musumeci, we have Mighty Mouse getting his black belt after
winning.
What did he win? World Masters? Or
no, it wasn't World Masters.
He won something
It was
big.
Pans.
It
was Master 2 Pans.
And everyone was like, finally.
Yeah.
And Mikey Musumeci won weight and absolute. And so he finally got his black belt.
He lost absolute.
Oh, he lost. Yeah, he medaled in absolute, though.
He got second. He got second place.
That's what it was. So he's a black belt finally.
Didn't he lose?
That sounds
I think he lost. I think he lost to the final. Yeah. He won until he won
until he lost.
He won until he lost.
As you do in IBJJF.
But what I mean is he won his division. He went into absolute. He won his first like 2 or 3 rounds.
Yeah.
And then he lost.
In the final.
In the finals, yeah.
Yep. So it was very well deserved. Go back and watch his entire UFC run, his ONE FC run. Like, dude has been a black belt level grappler for, I don't know, about 8 years at least, if not longer. Probably close to 10.
Oh, how big is he?
He's probably,
I'm trying to think.
He's smaller than me. He's like 5'3".
Okay,
he
so
fights at 25 and 35.
But I think he does like he does the 150s for
IBJJF.
He does middleweight.
No. He'll do fucking light feather or feather at
He might
heaviest.
do feather.
Feather, I think, is what he does.
Yeah. Okay. Because Master 2 middleweight is, I'm pretty sure is Hinger's division. I was trying to figure out who in the gi we could put him against.
I would love to see Mighty Mouse versus Hinger.
They're both middleweight, but they're both Master 2.
So Mighty Mouse got his black belt.
Yeah.
Other news. I don't really know how to cover this. Craig Jones seems to have some beef with ADCC regarding specifically the prize money. He's kind of been public about it. He's talked about it. Like, he seems a little bit perturbed. And again, I don't want to put words in anyone's mouth.
Yeah, I think he might just be trying to get attention too. Who really knows?
It seems like he's upset that ADCC is putting so much money into a lot of the production stuff, and it is still, there is no show money for the athletes. Yeah. And as a result, what he's doing is he's trying to put together, or talking about putting together, $1 million cash prize tournament.
Yeah.
And because Craig Jones, over the 2 times that he's done ADCC, has won $10,000 or $20,000 total.
Yeah.
He is doing a $10,001 show money, which is the prize you get for winning your division. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
$10,000 to win a division.
Yeah.
And so he's basically going, look, to do my tournament, you get more than what your winning tournament would be for your show money. Yeah. So come do my tournament.
And he's calling it BDCC.
BDCC.
Instead of ADCC.
BDCC. So
he did one promo, and it was him and Joseph Chen. Joseph Chen was riding a scooter. And
I haven't seen this yet.
And he was on the back of it, and he said, "My sugar daddy pays me more money than you." And
that was Chen on the back?
Yeah, that was Joseph Chen driving the scooter.
Okay. We also he did one where he is naked in a mirror talking about it.
Yeah.
Again, if he actually does $1 million cash prize tournament, again, I love ADCC. I like the prestige of ADCC. Yeah. I hope that it
and everybody's also joking that he was going to do it the same weekend as ADCC just to steal everybody.
But realistically, I mean, I saw a tentative names for people that are like, I think that they're interested in. Yeah. It would be the most banging tournament ever put together, or the most banging bracket ever put together by no small margin.
We'll see what happens, but if it does come to light, we'll definitely cover it.
Yeah, we'll go. I mean, if
really.
if $1 million cash prize jiu-jitsu tournament comes around and the names are they get half the names they announce.
It's going to be, how do you get to it? Because
you fly. I just drove to Ohio for an eclipse.
It's probably going to be in some like little like back room.
Hey, I'm a podcast guy. I'll get credentials for it. I'll go.
You are a podcast guy.
I am podcast guy. Craig does call me podcast guy when he sees me. He points to me and goes, podcast guy. Yeah. They've talked to me about their podcast before. Podcast guy. I will definitely be at that tournament. So, Craig, if you have a tournament, love to come and see it. It sounds like a great event. So we don't know much about it. We don't know if it's even real yet, but they have like shown that the money's there. Again, I'd be really interested to see a really great tournament that gets athletes paid.
Yep, it'd be fun.
Let's see. Okay, let's talk about this. Let's talk about more on the outro. Miranda, you have some exciting news that has come about.
So I am going to be flying to Branson, Missouri this weekend to do a car jiu-jitsu match. It is a jiu-jitsu match in a car.
So we'll talk about this more in the outro, but I will caveat, like, I got a text from Miranda that's like, hey, I got to ask you about something. And I was like, what kind of text is this? He goes, would you do this?
Yeah.
And she described it. I was like, for the story alone, yes. This sounds awesome.
I just like,
and it's broadcast. I say where it's broadcast?
It's going to be on ESPN at some point.
I was like, absolutely do this.
And like, they're paying
you, and
travel,
they're flying you out
and flying me out and everything. It's just, there's a little bit of like, how crazy am I? And I think I'm crazy enough
absolutely
to fight a girl in a car.
It's one of those things where you text me about it and I was like, absolutely do this. And also, if you don't do this, like, I will be a little upset. If you didn't, like, go. If you didn't like take the opportunity to go and do this.
So it's the Karjitsu Championships, I think is what it's referred to. They just filmed a event last weekend with Randy Couture and Mark Coleman. So
Coleman's on commentary for your match.
Yeah, he's doing Coleman. Yeah,
he's doing Coleman commentary.
Yeah, and then so we just found out about that.
Yeah, so we just found out what we can and can't talk about.
Yeah, and I had to ask to make sure that we weren't like blowing up anything that we weren't supposed to. It's Karjitsu Championship.
You will have to sign at the end of like an NDA. We can't. We'll talk about it after this week, essentially.
Yeah, I do have to sign an NDA about who wins and who loses because it is betting.
So you can bet. You can bet on Miranda.
Yeah, you can bet on me. So I will put all that stuff up on my Instagram, which we'll find a way to. Get out to the people if you need to.
Yeah.
So you can bet on me that I can
win in Karjitsu.
Can win in Karjitsu.
So, we don't talk about social media a lot.
Yeah. Also, if you have any information on how I should win in Karjitsu, send it my way. Because I have no idea. I have no idea what to expect out of this thing. I'm just thinking I'm going to grab her head and try to wrist lock her. That's about all I know.
It should be fun. So, we don't pimp the show a whole lot. If you like the show, you can follow us on Grappling at Grappling_Rewind on Instagram. Yeah. That's where we're most active. I don't do a ton with social media much anymore. Really just get the show out every week, make sure it's there. We also have the YouTube page, depending on where you're watching it.
Yeah.
If you like the show and you have a gym of people you train with that you think might also like the show, let them know. That like word of mouth is nowadays the only way that we grow. It's basically people sharing it with their folks at their gym and their friends. So if you could do that for us, I would really appreciate it.
And it's really weird when you find out people know who you are without you really realizing they know who you are. Like, wasn't there the story of you finding out that somebody that we train with, like, had been listening to the show for a long period of time?
6 years. And I didn't realize. We talked to them for years, and then realized I was like, oh, because their profile picture was their back, and not the front of them. And I was like, oh, that's the buddy at my gym. Oh, you've been the guy DMing. And it was like, yeah. I was like, oh, I didn't realize that was you all those years.
Yeah.
So it happens.
And we've made some good friends through it, so it's good.
Yeah, we have some great friends through the show. So yeah, if you like the show, please share it with the folks around you.
And if you're in Branson, Missouri, that's where I'm going to be for Karjitsu. Tell me what's going on in Branson, Missouri, because I have absolutely no idea.
Yeah. So that's Karjitsu.
Yep, that's our Karjitsu.
That's our show plug. I need to do it more often, but I really just like doing the show. But if you could help us grow the show, I would appreciate it. We have names announced for the Fight Pass Invitational 7. We're going to preview this in more depth next week. Main event is a banger matchup: Nick Rodriguez versus Mason Fowler. It's an absolute. I am super excited to watch footage on both these guys this week to like come with like information this coming week. Man, this will be fun.
I think it's sub only, and then I think it's EBI overtime. That's what they did last time.
I think it'll be something similar like that.
That's what
Mason Fowler is a fucking monster in EBI overtime. Again, never forget in submission on ground that he tapped Craig twice in overtime with just like a back crank. I don't know if he can do that to Nick Rodriguez, but man, I think Fowler will play guard. I think Rodriguez, we're going to see more of his passing. This is a super exciting main event, and I am absolutely amped for it. Anything else on that?
Nope.
Co-main event, we have Kaynan Duarte versus Luke Griffith. This is a tough matchup for Luke Griffith, but if he can get into the legs, potentially winnable. Kaynan Duarte, again, the champion, everything for a long time. Just had a weird match in Karate Combat and Pit Submission versus Poya Romani, where he took it was a kind of a nothing
It was a loss,
match.
but like nothing happened.
Yeah.
So it was hard to figure out who really.
And
actually,
Vagner just beat Luke in pit submissions.
In all honesty, they both lost that match.
Kinda, yeah. So, but
no
again,
one won that match.
I think this match will be a lot of fun because
I think Luke will bring some action to it. So even if Kaynan starts trying to like slow the action down, Luke will definitely pick that back up.
Yeah, it should be really fun. We have Giancarlo Bodoni versus Gabriel Argis. That's going to be a lot of fun. We talked about Gabriel a minute ago here, getting the invite to ADCC. Bodoni is the under 88 kilogram champion for ADCC. Looked really good as of recently in the spurts that we've seen him now and again. Like, that's an awesome matchup at 200 pounds. We have Renato Canuto versus Aaron Wilson, who was on the last Fight Pass Invitational.
Yeah, the last Fight Pass Invitational.
Yep. He had a fun match. Renato Canuto was just on PGF.
Yeah.
We just saw him on PGF. Again, a format that didn't really suit him as well. It'll be fun to see him actually and his wife, Raquel Canuto, on this card. And Raquel Canuto is taking on Ashlyn O'Connell.
Yep.
Who you were familiar with.
I went against Ashlyn O'Connor.
At trials, right?
Yep, at trials.
We did trials.
I had no mouth guard. She choked me really, really hard.
Yeah, that's at 145.
It was good times. Good times.
So that should be fun. Again, Canuto and Renato are both locals to Vegas nowadays,
Yeah.
so it'd be cool to see them. Also, we have apparently the People's Champ. Like Jay Rodriguez, that dude has a hell of a fan base.
Oh, do you know what? Ronaldo's hurt. They changed that.
That sucks.
They changed that because I remember him saying something about them putting somebody in. So pause for a second while I figure out who that is.
So Maine, keep talking.
Yes.
We also have Helena Cravar versus Ariel Laverne. Ariel is the trials champion.
He's going against Jonatas.
Okay, that was announced. Yeah. So Jay Rodriguez is going against Jonatas Gracie.
And Jonatas Gracie just went against not on that card, on the other one.
Mm-hmm.
Little Gordon.
Nicky Ryan.
Yeah,
and who's number one?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I just called
Little Gordon. I got there.
You know what I meant.
So that'll be a super fun match.
Yeah.
Jonatas Gracie and Jay Rodriguez. We also have one of your favorites, Peter Frank.
Yes,
versus Rafael Domingos.
But in the gi, in no gi, he doesn't have the same flying abilities that he has in the gi.
It is at 185 though.
Yeah.
So that'll be fun. Peter Frank, again, known for the flying arm bars.
And
then
weird,
Cravar and
just
Laverne.
Weird behavior in general.
Yeah.
He does some weird dancing.
He's styling on guys.
Yeah.
So that whole card, I cannot wait to talk about that in way more depth this next week.
Yeah.
Should be a ton of fun. It's a Wednesday card, which I kind of like a midweek card occasionally. And this is again, hell of a card. Starts at 5 p.m. Pacific, which is a little late for me, but they do tend to run these things in only a couple of hours, so it's not going to be one of those midnight getting out cards, so I appreciate that. 5 Pass Invitational 7. So, I think, do we have any other, let's move into the recaps. We talked about it last week. We're not really going to recap a ton of it. An Enigma, it was happening during our recording last week.
Yep.
Elijah Dorsey won via Kimura over Max Hansen.
Yes.
That was, Max Hansen in his post-fight actually talked about just like how tough of a week PGF was and that he knew it was going to be the toughest week of his life. Yeah. And it very much was so going into this match. So it's kind of, I almost would like to see this kind of run back with maybe Hansen not
being as beat up as he probably was
for
after.
A week of high-level competition. Like, it's rough. Like, again, I want to take nothing away from Elijah Dorsey, but it is a unique situation that, like, very few guys have a week-long tournament like this in jiu-jitsu.
No one has a week-long tournament that. It doesn't happen.
This would be like doing, maybe not quite on the same level, but like ADCC, and then the following like couple of days after doing another match.
I tried to do the open and then trials, and I know on day 3, I did not make it to day 2 of trials. But on day 3, when I woke up in the morning, I felt like crap. And that was only after 2 days of competing in a row. And that was only a few matches. That was maybe 4 matches. So that wasn't even like
the 3 a day that Max Hansen had. So again, fully taking nothing away from Elijah Dorsey here, but it is one of those, I think it does bear kind of remembering and thinking about. I would like to see this run back where maybe Max doesn't have a week of matches beforehand, because I think the matchup is really interesting between these two guys. Again, Dorsey taking it by sub, then we'll probably put some fire in Max, but this is what I'd like to see run back. That's it for, let's move on to the main card.
Yep.
Who's number 123? Another banger of a card. Do you want to start bottom up, top up, undercard first? Where do you want to go with this?
Let's go undercard first.
Undercard first, we have Evan Levy versus... All right, undercard or preliminary card at the bottom?
Undercard.
We have Evan Levy versus Marlon Tananka. Should be fun. Evan Levy is Amanda Levy's younger brother.
Yep.
It's funny. I remember Evan when he was a younger kid, like kind of he was a bigger kid.
Yeah. And
then he slimmed down for MMA, and I'm like, he looks like a completely different dude. Great grappler. Kind of similar style to his sister a little bit, but very much kind of has gone into his own style. Should be fun. We have Carissa Morena versus Jessica Crane here as well. That should be a lot of fun. I'm not super familiar with Carissa or Cassia. Not Carissa.
Mora.
Cassia Mora. The name sounds really familiar to me, but I'm not super familiar with her. We have Lucas Lira versus Hassan Albed. Lucas Lira is Maggie Grandotti's husband. Very, very accomplished IBJJF grappler. Fun,
Atos
exciting,
guy.
Atos guy. Like, I'm really at any moment.
Isn't he the one that with the highest number of points in an IBJJF match? Isn't he the one that put like 120 points on that one guy?
Maybe.
I'm almost positive it is.
Lira is very good, and
he went against some guy and he was talking shit, and he put 120 points on him in a tournament.
Lira is one of those guys that I think at any point in time now is going to make that breakthrough. And I'm just like, he's one of the guys that I am waiting for it to happen versus like if it will happen or not.
Yeah.
So this will be a fun match. We also have Achilles Rocha, Vagner Rocha's only son, versus Cameron Couch. We see Couch.
Oh, we have the whole family on this card.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, we have the whole family.
Oh, that's cool. Vagner always talks about like loving when that happens.
Yeah.
But it also doesn't help that your kids are high level grapplers as well.
Yeah.
Achilles, again, he's looked really good, but he's had some like up and down matches at trials recently. Cameron Couch is a really tough guy out of Moyer. He's out of Houston, I believe, could be Dallas. When I went out there for either Third Coast or Kasai, it was Kasai. So he was Dallas. We trained at his gym, and he had a really, really fun match with Cody Steele a couple years ago on that card. And we've watched him ever since, and he's always in the mix in the trials events, and he has a really interesting game. Body-wise, I think he matches up really interestingly with Achilles because they have a very similar long, lanky build.
Oh, okay.
So I'm actually really, really, really curious about how this is going to go, just because stylistically and physique build-wise, very, very similar grapplers. So
good.
Should be very entertaining. Both of them are tough as nails too, so that'll be fun. Anything else on the undercard?
Nope.
Let's move on to the big gun on the main card. Big guns on the main card. You wanted to go top or bottom?
Top.
Nicholas Meregali versus Vagner Rocha. They've been talking some shit.
Vagner Rocha's going to talk shit no matter what.
But Nicholas Meregali's also been talking shit. Like they've both been.
But sometimes I wonder if we understood Portuguese, if his jokes would make more sense.
Yeah.
Because sometimes his jokes don't hit.
You can
right.
tell there's something lost in translation.
Yeah, they don't hit right, and I'm like, I wonder if
I'm missing something.
I wonder if that's really funny in Portuguese.
So this is interesting because they both. It's been such a weird lead up to this match because they have both been very respectful and very like matter of fact that the other guy's not good. It's been such a weird dichotomy of like huge amount of respect for you, but I'm gonna beat you into the ground. It's like what? Like it's been such. I don't really know. I don't remember another match where this has happened where they've both been like acknowledging the other is very good, but also that they're just gonna beat him. It reminds me of like early 2000s MMA.
Okay.
Kind of, or like kind of boxers from that era where they kind of talked about each other like that. He's really good, but I'm gonna do this.
Yeah,
that's kind of what this matchup reminds me of. As far as dynamics of this match, I feel like this is kind of gonna look like Vagner versus Felipe Pena at the event in Italy we covered a couple years ago as a GP. For some reason, I feel like that's how this is going to go. We know Wagner's going to get really in Meregali's face. He's going to like post him. He's going to push him. He's going to like, that is how Wagner's going to go. But I think that late in the match, when Meregali is able to get something going, he is going to be able to control Vagner. He's going to be the bigger man here. Not by a huge amount, but by a big enough margin here.
Enough.
Yeah, because Vagner, has gone up and up and up in weight as he's gotten older here. But Meregali has a giant frame, is an enormous man.
Yeah.
I think Meregali is going to be able to get to the top. I think he's going to get to mount. I don't think that he.
I think it's very hard to put Vagner
It's
away.
very hard to put. It's not. It's doable.
Yeah.
And we've seen it versus Gordon. Like Gordon put Vagner away. Like it's doable. I just feel like we're going to see Meregali. I don't know if he's going to be able to get Wagner's back. I kind of feel like he's going to look for a head and arm from top. I feel like he's going to mount Wagner. He's going to be able to get there on Wagner with some time.
It's going to sweep him. He's going to sit and sweep, I bet.
You think he does the thing where he immediately pulls?
I mean, because in all honesty, I don't see him taking Wagner down because I think Wagner has enough of a wrestling background to be able to not get sucked into Meregali's wrestling because his wrestling isn't the greatest. Like he's normally just he's kind of new at
in nogi.
Yeah. And so I think if Nicholas pulls, then and he uses one of the millions of sweeps that he has,
That's actually, I think
he has a sweep game.
I had a bunch of dynamics of how I thought this match was going to go, and you have immediately like coming with that. And I'm like, yep, I think that's how it's going to go.
No, I mean,
too.
because that's if you think about how Meregali wins in a lot of brackets, especially with bigger guys, especially with aggressive people. Now in gi, it's always he pulls lasso, and he hook sweeps.
I think we're going to see kind of what we saw Kynan and Fionn both do, like pull early and then immediately sweep. We're not going to see a protracted playing of the guard. If Meregali can help it, I think he's going to look to go very, very quick on Vagner. And I think he's probably going to look to put a pace on Vagner to like tire him out a little bit, would be my guess, like tactically.
Vagner's just going to giggle the entire time.
He's going to be there. Yeah. Again, I take Meregali in this by sub, but Vagner is just as crafty as they come. He's getting a little older, but still, man, as crafty as they come when it comes to
he's very hard to put away.
He's very hard to do anything to. Yeah. He's just like, he's hard to deal with in every phase. There's not a one phase you can put Vagner where it's you can beat him easily.
But you know what's funny is that no matter what he does, everyone still kind of is like, oh, it's just Vagner. But like Andy Varela does the same exact thing, and everybody's like, Andy Varela just bitch slapped this guy, and he gets all mad. But like Vagner Rocha can do the same exact thing.
Because Vagner does it
in a gentlemanly way.
No, Vagner does it in the match.
Okay.
Like Vagner, like as soon as the match is over, he's immediately friendly, but he is like he is doing exactly what the ref will let him get away with, and then as soon as the match is over, he seems like that is all done, and like that was during the match. Andy, it seems to like carry a little bit after. Maybe I think it's the perception, at least in my head, of like when I think about these two guys, very similar, very heavy-handed tactics in matches.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. Andy does get a lot of shit for it in the same way that Vagner, we're kind of like, it's just Vagner.
I just wonder if it's because
I think also Wagner's kind of like at this point in his career has earned it, where it's like, it's just Vagner. Like, I think maybe late in Andy's career, we will kind of have the same like acceptance. Like, man, you're fighting Andy Varela, that's how it's going to be.
Yeah.
Wagner's done it. He's been consistent enough where it's not him getting emotional. It's just him doing the game. I think we all go, that's just how Wagner plays. So unfortunately, again, Wagner's one of my favorite dudes to watch. But I think that this is Meregali. I kind of think it's Meregali by arm triangle from the top, unfortunately.
I just think it's Meregali. I think he's going to sweep up the mount.
Do you think we go to overtime? Or do you think Mergali's able to get it done?
No, I think I don't know.
Overtime would be interesting, because Wagner has the EBI experience.
There is no overtime. It's who's number one.
I did. We always do.
There's no overtime.
I did the fight pass thing.
It's judges.
Oh, right.
It's judges' decision.
Judges' decision. Okay. Yeah, I think I take Meregali here.
Yeah.
Jesus, I've been thinking about this on the fight pass stage the entire time. Oh, I gotta get my head right.
Who's number one?
Okay. Yeah.
So we got
who's
red
number one?
Corner and blue corner and all that crap.
Nothing changes in my head for the undercard we talked about now that I remember that.
No.
Let me bold that for me here. Let me bold that in our notes here. Let me give that.
And then our next we have Andrew Tackett versus Tommy Langaker.
So this is a late replacement. We had previously this was going to be Mika Galvao versus Langaker, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like both those matchups were great matchups. Now it's Andrew Tackett. This is a fun one because of we have the 77 kilogram trials winner for West Coast, and we have the 77 kilogram trials for the second European trial. So both second trials winners. Andrew Tackett was injured during the East Coast trials. Tommy Langaker lost to Joseph Chen in the East Coast trial. In the first European trials, they're both, and then Tommy Langaker won his second European trials pretty handedly.
And they're both kind of crazy, durable people.
Yeah, and
like in a weird way, like Tackett has the ability to kind of jump and do all kinds of flying shit and come out of nowhere and attack you like a spider monkey. Mm-hmm. But Tommy has the ability to like let shit break and just not care and also just work through things.
Early career Tommy Langaker. I mean, on the show when we started talking about Tommy Langaker,
and he also takes your back like a motherfucker.
Dude, yeah.
Sorry.
I mean, we curse on the show. We curse less than we used to curse on the show. We still curse on the show. Yeah, Tommy Langaker, we talked about him years ago.
Teleport to your back.
Mm-hmm. And he has the ability to just pull a rabbit out of the hat at any time. Any point in time, Langaker can put you away. But Tackett, the dynamics here are interesting because I think Langaker, as he has gotten a little older, has slowed down. Yeah. And Tackett, as he has gotten a little older, as he's become an adult now, has gotten even faster. Like the pace that Andrew Tackett puts on during like super fight matches is absurd.
Yeah.
Like
that is true.
It is absurd. Like I think this is again, Tommy is one of the hardest dudes in the world to put away. I kind of think Andrew Tackett might be able to do it. what was the match we saw with Andrew Tackett most recently?
PJ Barge.
Yeah,
besides
who's number one? Yeah, that match where
PJ
it was just another world of ability to stop a score and
move, just keep moving, and just.
Did he have a match with Oliver Taza?
No.
Was that someone else? Regardless, Andrew Tackett has, I think, his wrestling here. Tommy possibly could pull early.
Yeah.
Very possible. But I think Andrew is better in the wrestling. I think they're very close in the scrambles, but I think that Andrew is...
He has the youth.
He has the youth. He has the youth in those scrambles. Advantage. I think Tommy overall has more experience in finishes.
Yeah.
But I think that speed, and Tackett is learning how to leverage his speed and balance. I think that Tommy is not going to be as careless as some of the guys that Tackett has faced, but I think that Andrew will be able to get something going just with the attritive pace that he puts on Tommy.
I think it'll be
something.
It'll be an exciting match one way or another.
I think that Andrew takes this by decision or sub, but it would not surprise me in this to have a moment or a 5-minute period of this match that Tommy is winning.
Yeah.
In the Who's Number One series. That neither would surprise me.
Yeah.
It would not surprise me for Tommy to have a phenomenal section of the match where Andrew is on the defensive a little bit, either from a scoring position wise, even though there's no score here, but from a positional dominant standpoint, or starts to put Andrew in some trouble with an armbar or something, and Andrew is able to get out and do something. But yeah, this is phenomenal matchmaking. This is as good of a replacement as you can get. I would love to see Mika take on both these guys. I hope that he is healthy and gets healthy before ADCC, because he's not been announced for ADCC and comes back. But yeah, all three matches are ones I want to see here. Any kind of closing thoughts?
Nope.
Next one we have is Felipe Pena versus Rafael Lovato Jr. I love Rafael Lovato Jr. I love his career. I love what he's done. Both these guys are at not quite similar phases of their career.
No, but they are both at similar phases.
They're both at similar phases of their career. Pena has...
They're both slowing down.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to put it. They're both slowing down. We've seen Pena's output really get a lot slower in the last 3 years. Yeah. We've in kind of the same way that Lovato's has. It's really gotten a lot slower in the last 4 or 5 years. Still very much in the mix at the top level, but we're seeing the pacing and the way that these guys are fighting each other slow. Rafael just had a match against Craig Jones. Craig Jones heel hooked him in about 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Which, again, tactically is something that, that's what you want to do with Lovato. You don't want to let Lovato start to get you and control you, because that dude is one of the best pressure control grapplers that has ever lived, in a very similar way kind of to Felipe Pena. Very good pressure control. I am curious. I think a lot of this match will be on the feet. I then think Pena will get to the guard some way.
Yeah.
And we will see Lovato working to Pena. We'll see some neat sequences from Lovato, but I don't know if he's going to be able to pass through Pena.
I would agree with that.
And that's my question is how much time does Pena spend in the guard, and is he able to sweep Lovato? Is he able to get on top of Lovato and control Lovato? But
I don't know about that.
Yeah, and that's what I'm not sure.
It might just be Pena on the bottom, Lovato trying to pass,
and us kind of waiting for either one of them to really engage. That's kind of my concern for the matchup. Again, I would love to see Pena play through the guard. I would love to see some passing from Lovato. Again, both of those things are so great from both of them. That's really where they shine. We've seen some great bottom game from Lovato in the last couple of years. But I'm concerned here from the dynamics of the match that it'll be a slower paced match with both guys a little hesitant to pull the trigger. I hope I'm wrong. I want to go Pena here just because he's a little more in his prime than Lovato.
I'm going to go for Lovato just to be
Did you always pick Lovato?
I always pick Lovato.
Yeah, that's fine. We all have certain guys that we're just going to pick, and yours is a Lovato pick. Yep. I knew it before we started the show.
I always like Lovato.
Yeah. Do you have a way? You have a methodology? You think decision?
Decision.
Just more activity on top?
Activity on top, yeah.
Next matchup. This is another kind of weird matchup. Again, all in a good way. I think this entire card is very well matched. I don't want to speak poorly about any of the matchups. I actually really love all of them. Nicky Ryan versus JT Torres.
Yeah.
This is a... like a benchmarking matchup.
Well, it's like we don't know. Because we don't really know which JT Torres is going to come. We don't know which Nicky Ryan's going to come. Is Nicky Ryan in one piece? Is he in multiple pieces? Is he injured? Is he not injured?
That's kind of the dynamics of the match. Is like, what shape is his body in?
Did Nicky Ryan eat lunch?
Yeah. Like, what shape is his body in? What injuries is he fighting off? Yeah. And then JT Torres has had, like, we don't see him compete at a huge degree of frequency. Yeah. And so it's like,
and I think he's a little bit of a slow starter at times. Mm-hmm. So if Nicky can do a trials run like he did
everything except Elijah Dorsey.
Yeah. If he could pull that, then I think he could win. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, JT Torres
is fucking JT Torres. Yeah. This is weird because this is such a weird match dynamically because we don't know where either guy really is.
But we hope that JT Torres now has an entire camp of, like, you know,
the best people in the world almost.
Yeah. So you would assume that he is still able and that he's going to understand or at least not play into Nicky Ryan's game.
Yeah. Yeah, this is this one should be easy to pick again. JT,
but they might both stand on their feet and try to wrestle the whole time, and then we get an entire wrestling match because Nicky Ryan has been trying to
wrestle a lot.
His wrestling.
And then JT has a really good inside trip, and then Nicky Ryan's also been getting kind of crafty with his wrestling, but JT has a specific wrestling coach. Like the dynamics of this are super weird. On paper, this should be an easy pick for JT Torres.
Yes.
But the reality of it is, like, we kind of just don't know where he's at.
I'm going to go Nicky Ryan. Because I think
but if we get to Nicky Ryan we saw versus Jontas Gracie, like, that's, I go easy JT Torres. But if we get to Nicky Ryan we saw at trials, I think that's a handful for Torres to deal with. It is, both guys have had really hot and really cold performances at the highest levels as some of their more recent performances. And that's why I think this one dynamically is so hard, because Nicky can wrestle. JT can wrestle. Both of them are very good in the certain phases they are. Nicky Ryan has a phenomenal guard. JT Torres is fucking JT Torres. Has a great guard, has great top position passing, has great top pressure and control.
I mean, my entire headquarters passing sequences are JT Torres. Yeah. I mean, that's how
from the show. Yeah. Just went out, did like a week with Torres. Like, again, one of the best guys in the world, but the dynamics of the matchup are like, this goes either direction, and it is not surprising. There's not an outcome in this match that surprises me. Like, Torres gets on top and is able to control Nicky Ryan head and arm. Like, okay, I could see it. My sub for JT Torres would actually surprise me a little bit, because we saw versus Majid Hayes, like, he really took his time. He didn't look to put Majid away. Nicky Ryan by full lock, like, quickly, wouldn't surprise me. Nicky Ryan by sub here wouldn't surprise me, but Nicky Ryan also looking for something and never being able to get something going on Torres from the bottom, and Torres just laying sideways in half guard and, like, controlling and passing and getting, like, also wouldn't surprise me. It's such a weird matchup because both guys have been not the most consistent recently. So, what else? Do you have anything else on? Any thoughts on it?
No, I really don't know.
Yeah.
Because it could go, it could go so many different directions. I also sometimes think about what instructional they've put out recently, because I'm like, a lot of them put out an instructional and then they like to hit whatever's in their instructional.
I feel like both those guys on each other, this is a rough match to do that.
Yeah.
Though. Like, but I feel like that's what you do that on, like, other level guy, like this level.
But I feel like they do that a lot. And I'm trying to think what Nicky just put out. I think Nicky put out, like,
was it wrestling?
Wrestling.
Was it wrestling?
Or like high step passing or something
like that. Yeah. I don't know. This match goes either direction. This is one I would not bet on, because there's just too many X factors for me. Next matchup, we have Jasmine Rocha versus Emily Ferreira. This is fun.
Isn't it Emily Hernandez, or was Hernandez?
Oh, I think you're correct. She's had a name change.
Yeah, she's gotten married at some point, but I don't know if she's still Ferreira or she's Hernandez or she's Hernandez Ferreira.
That is one of the most difficult things in the sport to, like, keep track of. It's like, oh, got married, confused now for next 5 years of me being confused about the last name. Yeah, I have really enjoyed watching the development of Jasmine Rocha from like a teen into adult into like a trials winning competitor. I think this is a matchup that can allow Jasmine to get kind of back on the horse and who's number one. She had a really tough loss, both from like a PR standpoint and from a technical standpoint versus Fionn Davies in her last bout on who's number one, or the previous bout, one between. But then since then has put on a phenomenal run at trials and has been kicking women in the chest as a sweeping technique.
I mean, I kind of like that.
My wife is doing it to me a lot.
Yeah.
And because I'll sit in the half guard and then she will kick me in the chest and then pat and then sweep and I'll go, and then I'll go Jasmine Rocha and she'll look at me like Jasmine Rocha. And it has been a really interesting dynamic to be on the receiving end of, and it's very good. And it's given me a lot of appreciation for the kind of dynamic sweeping game that both Vagner and Jasmine have employed to get on top for some of these matches. I think we're going to see that here versus Emily Ferreira. Seeing Jasmine's wrestling come into play wouldn't surprise me. Again, Emily's a very high-level and tough competitor, but I really liked what I saw from Jasmine in her trials run, and I really think we're going to see more of that. Like, she is preparing for ADCC. She has that mindset. I think she's going to come out super aggressive, and we're going to see her look to dominate.
We kind of expect that to happen.
Yeah, that's how she likes to play. Yeah. I think that's what we're going to see. I think we'll see Ferreira on the guard, and then we'll see Rocha looking to get past the guard, probably at range, and probably with very aggressive, like in and out and smash passing through, and she'll be able to eventually get that going.
And a couple face smacks.
Yeah. Very, very aggressive forward pressure from Rocha. But we'll see. Yeah. And then the last match on the card we haven't talked about is interesting. We have Diogo Baby Shark Reis versus Shay Montague. What'd I say? Hayes. Yeah. Baby Shark. We got Baby Shark. Off his injury. He got injured in his 145-pound match versus Pato, where Pato then took the championship for 145, and then Pato beat Dante Leon. We were like, Pato's really fucking good. Yeah. That's great. He's really, really good.
We kind of always knew Pato was
We knew he was really good.
But then he went to AOJ and got even better.
Dude, he got way better. Like, he was beating Baby Shark up until, Baby Shark blew his leg out. I'm happy that Diogo is back and healed up. Shay's an interesting guy. We haven't talked about him a ton on the show.
We do, but we talk about him on the European cards normally.
Yeah. He is a European roosterweight that won the European Championships and also won... Oh, shit, we just pulled it up and I now don't know.
He won the Europeans, a nogi, and then he won...
Pans
No. Europeans and Brazilios.
Was it Worlds nogi? Okay.
No, just he hasn't been a black belt that long.
He's got a black belt earlier than 2023. Or sorry, late in 2023. Yeah. When we knew kind of saw him as a brown belt, he had a phenomenal brown belt run in IBJJF. He plays a traditional IBJJF roosterweight game with a lot of heel hooks in there. Yeah. Like, very good leg walker. He's a Scottish guy, so I like seeing guys from the regions that are less represented.
He's got an interesting hair.
He has a look that I have known him since purple belt, because he has had a look for a lot of years on the European scene.
It's a dyed blonde mullet with a dark black mustache.
And no beard.
Yep.
Yeah. So Shay, again, very easy to pick out in a crowd. Phenomenal competitor on the IBJJF scene. We've seen him on other cards in Europe. Baby Shark is the under 66 kilogram champion for ADCC. Shay is on the rise quickly. But I think that Baby Shark, if he's fully healed, and if he is, like, not still fighting an injury, there's not many guys in the world I'm going to pick against Baby Shark.
No, I'm not going to bet against Baby Shark, though. Shade is accomplished. He has a lot of brown belt wins. He's
a world winner brown belt.
Yeah.
He won almost everything at brown belt.
In both gi and no gi. Yeah. Like, he does it all. So he's very talented, but Baby Shark is Baby Shark.
I just think that again, this would be a nice benchmarking to see, like, where Shay is. Yeah. Really, more than anything, I think that Baby Shark is by far and away the front runner here. Again, being your ADCC champion.
Baby Shark also is going to have some size on him.
Is he really?
Yeah, because Baby Shark is under 66.
But pretty
Just, like-
easily, I think.
But Shay is a rooster. That's like 120
Oh,
pounds.
yeah. Okay, you're right. You're
That's
right.
little.
Okay.
That is little man.
Yeah, so he's gonna have some size here.
I mean, not a lot, but like when you get to the smaller
when you get to small weight
classes,
classes, 5 and 10 pounds mean something.
Yeah.
No, I agree. This again is a big opportunity for Shay to like go against Baby Shark and potentially make a real big stamp here, win or lose. Easy money on Baby Shark. I think that we will see him force Shay into the guard. Shay's a very, very good guard player, but I think we will see Baby Shark be able to pass like an outside knee cut or throw by on the outside. I think Shay has a phenomenal ability to re-guard, but I think we will see Baby Shark be able to eventually get behind him and then potentially be able to get on his back. Now, my question is, can Shay get out of this and get into the legs? Baby Shark is a good leg locker. But I'm curious how well that leg is healed since the Pato match. So that's my question of like, is he 100% if Shay goes into the legs? And like, how is the defense going to be if your leg or ligament's a little tired?
Yeah.
So I think easy money is on Baby Shark. I'm going to go by submission. I think he's going to get his back, get Shay's back. But we have seen Shay beat. We have seen him beat by footlock before. But I just don't think we're going to see a shootout battle between Baby Shark and Shay into the legs if Baby Shark can avoid that.
Yeah, I think so too.
But yeah, this would be a really fun match. I'm really happy that they're bringing Shay on again to have a fun matchup.
Yep.
So that's who's number one. We also next week. Anything else on who's number one?
No.
Any other kind of closing
And
thoughts?
I think we always call him like Montagna, and it's Montag.
Yeah, I've been butchering his name.
Like I think I try to say it like he's a mountain in French.
Montag.
Montagna.
Yeah.
And it's not.
No, and we've gotten messages about his name, and I'm remembering it just now that I've gotten a couple of messages. I'm like, it's pronounced like this, and I was like, awesome, thank you, and then continue to butcher his name.
Yeah.
Montag. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it'll be a really fun card. We also have ADCC Asian trials happening next week. Not hugely filled out.
No, it's like 300 people.
Yeah.
The whole thing.
Which again, the Asian trials, Asian Oceanic
what that
trials.
means is the coverage will probably be amazing.
I hope so.
Kind of like the last Asian trials when we got to watch everything.
That was a lot of fun. Again, they'll be fun. We'll be covering that as well. Again, I love trials. They're one of my favorite events. They're an opportunity for someone who we do not know to become someone that we know, and it's how a lot of the big names in the ADCC hopper and on the world stage in general get their start, like Craig Jones, ADCC trials winner in Asia and Oceania. Lachlan Giles, ADCC trials winner, Asia and Oceania. Justin Chen, like these giant tent poles of our sport get their start in these smaller trials.
Yeah.
And just because a trials is smaller by the number of registrations does not mean that the athletes are not absolutely at the top and at the elite level, which also kind of makes it fun because sometimes you get an elite level athlete in a not well attended trials and they buzzsaw through folks.
They just butcher through everyone.
And so yeah, I'm really excited for it. We perused very, very quickly. No giant notable names that we saw. Some good names we saw, but no one that we're like world stage super familiar with.
I think that's it.
Yeah.
I think it's all we have going on.
We talk enough about card jiu-jitsu, so now it's moving to the outro of the show.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else about card jiu-jitsu that you can talk about?
I don't know.
Because this has been this week's dynamic announcement for Randy.
It's been bizarre because I like randomly on a Facebook post somebody said, would you do card jiu-jitsu? And I was like, fuck yeah, I do some card jiu-jitsu. And then I never thought like somebody would actually reach out to me. And then I had this promoter reach out and be like, would you like to be on a card jiu-jitsu card? And I'm like, what do you mean?
And then you had, like,
what do you mean?
The text I got from you just was the funniest text ever. I was like, I mean,
it was.
Yeah, do that. Yeah, it'd be fun.
It was okay. I will find it because I was like,
we're going through our DMs,
I have
which
to
is
go.
funny.
I have to go through the messages to find it. Hey, if you got approached to do a card jiu-jitsu match, they'll cover travel filming next weekend or the following to be shown on ESPN and compensated for. Would you do it?
So the worst part is I got excited that you were reaching out to me like, hey, they want you. And I was like,
I'm sorry.
hell yeah, it's fine.
I was
like, hell yeah, Miranda. And you were like, I'm going to do it. I was like, hell yeah for you, Miranda. Go do that shit.
Well, I mean, maybe we'll start a little, maybe it'll branch out and
you'd be like, hey, I got this guy in Baltimore. He's got a broken back.
I was like, but he knows how to choke the shit out of people.
But man, he's got a good guillotine.
Yeah.
And the car jiu-jitsu, like, that would be a good because
I'm thinking like
he has a crazy guillotine.
Like wrist locks and like head like chokes.
Yeah, guillotine.
You got nothing else.
I've watched enough car jiu-jitsu as it's come through, and I've like watched, like, that was kind of neat. Like, people, what you need to do is
you gotta
when it starts, you got to block your seatbelt. And you gotta get their seatbelt. So it's this mode. You gotta watch, it's block and seatbelt. You gotta get there quick, Miranda. Your hands start up for car jiu-jitsu, and then you block and get seatbelt. You gotta get there faster. Ooh, it's gonna be rough in Missouri for you, Miranda.
Not thinking about it right now.
So what you just missed if you're watching the audio show?
Yeah, we were trying to actually do it.
Yeah.
Because you have a seatbelt on, you have to take your seatbelt off, and then you go, and you can also use the seatbelt.
Which I think is, and you can use like the windows and door locks. Yeah. And you can recline the seats and stuff. Yeah. What I think is really interesting is that we've been grappling a long time. Yeah. And you got approached for this match this week, and it's this weekend. Yeah. And you've not ever really grappled in a car, like in a submission format. No. And so it kind of brings me back to like thinking about the problem like you do as a white belt, where you're like, oh, I don't really know what I can do and what I can't do and what's available, and like I don't know how this works yet. And this whole past couple of days, as thinking about this as your friend, has gone like, okay, how would I approach this? And like watching car jiu-jitsu matches, like you're trying to very rapidly fill a knowledge gap. Yeah, and right before a match.
But it's also a thing where like, how are you gonna practice? Because like none of our cars don't have the little thing in the middle that like the little stick shift thing, and the car that we do it in does not have the
shifter.
The shifter isn't there. So like I don't want to try it in one of our cars because all my luck, I'll get impaled by a shifter.
Look, my car's crappy. We'll do it. We'll try it.
It's just
I'll clean out the front.
I just don't know. Like I don't know. It's gonna be an interesting.
I just like the approach that suddenly the whole grappling run team has had to think about like how would we actually like, oh, this is real, like you're going to go do this. Yeah. We have to like come up with tactics and thoughts for you.
Yeah, like
actually
well, and that's why I added it to the group. I was like, hey, I'm doing this. What do you guys think? Because
but it's really funny because we're all like everyone is very experienced in grappling rewind, and we all like do the mat grappling, occasionally MMA or wall grappling, but none of us have any. We're all white belts in jiu-jitsu in a car. Yeah, and it's just such a funny like.
We have no idea.
We all do a bunch of tape analysis and like commentary. Like we're all very familiar with grappling.
Yeah, but not with like.
But this is an entirely different
like,
thing.
I mean, and it's not even like cage grappling, because in cage grappling you can like you wall walk and you do other things.
We also have the data and we've seen it. You know how to do it. Like car jiu-jitsu, there's some footage, but the reality is it's still like a very unique, odd environment, and we're all like, absolutely go do that. But I don't have much I can help you with, so good luck, Miranda.
We're just going to try. We're going to see what happens.
So I hope you have a great time. And then, I don't know, probably next week when you're back, because you're basically doing it and then coming back, so you'll be on the coverage team for Grappling Ground for next week.
Yeah, I won't be able to...
probably won't be able to talk about it for another month or two.
I can probably talk about the experience, but I can't talk about the results.
We'll find out, because NDAs scare the shit out of me.
Yeah.
And
I don't really want to violate an NDA
so we probably won't talk much about it after today's show, other than like, hey, she went out and did it. But overall, I like doing and experiencing new and exciting things, so I'm excited for you to go out and do that.
And it's no pressure. Like, if I get choked in 30 seconds, I get choked in 30 seconds.
I'm in a car. Like, I didn't know what I didn't.
If I become the world champion in car jiu-jitsu, I mean, that's kind of fucking awesome.
That would be cool. That would be super. Like, it'd be super neat.
Especially if they give me a.
They got to fly down to Missouri like once a month to defend your title.
Yeah, it'd be awesome. I'll be like, go right ahead. I want to get them. It's the Ozarks. I mean, don't people go there for vacation and shit?
Yeah, probably. There's a TV show about it.
I know, and drugs.
Oh. My wife watched all of the Ozarks, and I would watch like little bits in the room as I'd walk in.
Yeah.
And she loved it. It was a great series.
It's about drugs.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it should be a lot of fun. So you're gonna fly out at Thursday, and then you'll have very limited stuff you can talk about as we break the trials down and who's number one down next week. But my week is not nearly as fun. I put out a video on another project that I do. I'm doing some promotion on that. It's been a lot of fun to do that, to kind of flex other arms with video editing, not just on the podcast side, but on the different stuff that I do.
And it was good. You edited 200 million shots of the sun.
I did. I stabilized for 2 different shots, 2,000 shots each, and one of them I stabilized every single one of the 2,000 frames individually by hand to put this time-lapse video of the clips out.
This is what we do for fun. We fight in cars and we stabilize
and do video editing.
Yeah,
so
it's good times.
It's been good. We did promotions at the club, at the university club this week. That was a lot of fun. Got a blue belt, which is always exciting and always cool to see people come through the club. Did it before they graduate. So it's been a big week, and I'm very much ready to kind of chillax into June.
Yeah.
As things come up. But I got nothing else, Brandon. Anything else?
No, I think that's it.
All right, as always in the show, I'm your host, Maine, to my co-host,
Miranda.
And we are the Grappling Rewind, so that's what it is. Stay safe. If you like the show, please consider sharing it on Facebook with the folks at your gym. It's the best way that we grow the show, and we really appreciate it. You can reach out to us on email.
We also have Instagram. We have Facebook. We have Twitter. We have Google+.
Until that shuts down.
We have a website.
If you have an event you would like to have us cover, please let us know. If you have a name, like most people do, and you'd like to have us stop butchering it,
let us know.
Reach out to us. The show is also available on YouTube, Spotify, in addition to iTunes and every other podcast service. We very much appreciate your time, and thank you.